Hello, and in this video I'm going to be giving each of the 6 original ninja a rating out of 10 for their performance in Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 2. I will also not be ranking Sora, Aaron, Wildfire or Ryu as they'll be getting their own video together. Now with that being said, let's get into the ratings.
So why are we not listening to the clue?
In the first half of Season 2, Jay's character was actually quite interesting. I really enjoyed the stuff he did even though he was only in the show for small periods of time. And I thought this was a fresh way to take the character and the fact he had lost his memories. However, I believe the problems came from when they did Evil Jay in Season 2 Part 2. I felt as if it was rushed and they didn't take the right steps to actually build up any emotion in the fight he had. Jay only had one fight in the tournament sources and he lost to Nia. I feel as if that was a poor decision because I feel Evil Jay should have gone on much further, as this would have created a great parallel with Lloyd and actually added more emotion to him. If you separated the season into Season 1 Part 1 and Season 1 Part 2 and made them both their separate seasons, I actually think that would make Jay stand out much more. In the first part, he's a really good character in my opinion and it's an interesting way to take it. However, I believe in Season 2 Part 2 is where they mess up with the character. So actually, I would end up giving Jay a 5 out of 10. However, I do believe the failures as Evil Jay is what causes his character to be this low, as it was quite a big part of their marketing campaign for the fact, oh, there's going to be Evil Jay, and then to have him lose in the first round was quite disappointing.
Send me a kiss by wire.
In my opinion, Zayn's character isn't the best. I really found him boring, especially in the finale of Season 2 Part 1. I really found the stuff between him, Cole and Gandalaria really boring at times, as it felt it took away from the actual climax that was happening alongside it. I feel if they can lead more into him wanting to find Pixel element of his story, he actually becomes quite interesting. Because of course Pixel was an established character within the Ninjago lore, so eventually when he meets up with her it could become this emotional moment for both of them. Zayn's character also stagnated in the Tournament of Sources because he went out in the first round and he also didn't help with the investigation, kind of wondering why his character was there for so long in the season. I do feel like Zayn could have a really good character as well in Dragons Rising, they just need to take the right steps with him. I think finding Pixel in the next season could be crucial into how they do his character. However, with the lack of stuff that actually happened to Zayn in Season 2, I am going to have to give the character a 3, I just feel like there wasn't enough interesting things going on with him.
Only I call him Pinky.
I really don't know how to feel about Cole's character in Dragons Rising Season 2. I really like Cole's relationship with Geo and his one with Bonzel. It's really been shown that they have developed off screen and they're really close with each other. His problems are also very similar to Zayn's. He went out very soon in the Tournament of Sources, and he also got caught up in that very boring mid-season finale. However, I do feel like Cole was more involved this season than Zayn, so that's why I'm going to eventually rate him higher than Zayn. Because once Cole lost his powers from the Tournament of Sources, he also went on to find the Earth Climber mech, which actually gave him something to do in the finale. While I feel like the faults between him and Zayn are very similar, Cole actually has some high points because Zayn also fell very flat, while Cole actually went up and down in my opinion during the season. So I'm actually going to give Cole a 5 out of 10. This is because he has really good developed relationships with other characters in the show, and he actually seems more fleshed out than Zayn did.
I'm not weak. This pocket is weak.
Nia's character has done really well in this season in my opinion, because she actually has some really emotional moments, like when she re-meets Jay when Jay doesn't remember her. She also is crucial in Kai unlocking the Rising Dragon technique. What this does is it just shows how crucial she actually is to the plot of the show. But the showrunners have clearly decided to prioritise the sibling relationship between Kai and Nia over the romantical one of Jay and Nia. And this could be seen as good and bad. It can be seen as good because this sibling relationship has lacked development since around Season 7 of the original show, while it can also be seen as bad because you are neglecting the marital relationship that these two have. Nia was also a really strong competitor in the Tournament of the Sources. This is shown from the fact she held her own against Noct and actually could have beaten him if it wasn't rigged against her. And she was also really crucial in Kai's return as well, which actually adds more to her character as well, as it really just shows how trusting they are in her, the showrunners. And the fact she held her own against Noct really just proves how strong she is, because Noct, we are yet to learn his true elemental power and he was just easily defeating everyone in his path, but when he came up against Nia, Nia actually beat him in my opinion. The only problem I have with her character is the fact she isn't actually in the Starlight. What I mean is I feel like Nia should have had a slight little bit more of a focus on her because she had just lost her brother, she also lost the person she loved, and the fact he was being manipulated by the person she's been trying to defeat for 2 seasons now. And then of course Nox being there, the person that her brother was sacrificed for, just really added to this emotion for her. So the fact is, I feel like there should have been more of a focus on her for the amount of emotion she would have been facing just going to this tournament alone, and yet the fact she would then go on to beat so many of these top competitors. In conclusion, I'm going to give Nia's character an 8. I feel like she's a perfect character for what they're trying to do. They've really given her the correct time and really been patient with building up her character. I feel like as well she could have easily have been above it if they just put that little bit extra focus on her.
Helps you sell at every stage of your business. Need a fast and secure way to take payments? We've got you covered.
Princess, I
How
thought you were
about card
kidnapped.
readers that you can rely
Lloyd's
on?
character is quite confusing to me, as I feel like at some points he's really good, and at some points I'm not interested in his character. For example, the Master Lloyd stuff does not work for me. I just don't feel like he is ready to become a sensei to these ninja. He's just not mature enough, and I feel like he lacks the last step needed to actually unlock his own full powers, as we are yet to understand what they truly are. I also didn't like the way his visions were done in the season, as I felt it was just a way to move the plot forward, as we knew if it appeared in his vision it was going to happen in the show one way or another. What this did is it kind of told the audience what was going to happen, and it kind of took away from the actual shock value of when these moments actually happened, as we knew about them in advance. However, in the Tournament of Sources, I really liked when he decided to fight while injured, as it really showed that courage he had, and the fact he knew he wouldn't be able to complete at full strength, yet he was going to do it anyway. I feel as if Lloyd not being the one to unlock the Rising Dragon technique was actually a bad decision, because what it did is it kind of took away from the fact that he was training continuously much longer than them. I know in the merge time he took some time off, but other than that, from season 1 to season 15, he rarely took time off in comparison to the other ninja, because they all took the time off between season 2 and 3, yet he was still the golden ninja. So that really just shows how he was still training during these times where the ninja wouldn't, even though when he wouldn't train, it was when the rest as well weren't training. I'm going to give Lloyd a 5 out of 10. This is because there's many different ways they could have taken his character in this season, and however, I do feel like they picked one of the most bland options for him. This is because I didn't trust him as the sensei to these younger ninja because he hasn't had that experience that the older ones have had. I do believe though in the later seasons he'll become much better as he'll really mature that final step and become the proper mentor these younger ninja really deserve. Finally, Kai. I've spoken about his character before, but I think it is one of the highlights of both parts of the season. I really enjoy how mature he is and how he acts as this father-like role for Wildfire. He really becomes this person that you can look up to now in the series and actually understand how it is developed well. When you look at the decision he makes in this season and what he makes in the original show, you actually can see the really big growth he has made from them. Kai's character is absolutely phenomenal this season. I would do one thing though to improve it if I could, and that would be to have him fight the Forbidden Five just once. However, I did like the fact he had to run and hide from them because it really has shown his ninja skills as well. That is something we don't really see much now in the show because of course it's the really flashy moves. And I really love the fact that Kai had this whole story into him unlocking the Rising Dragon technique that really connected him again with Nia. I feel like in the past of the show they've really disregarded the sibling relationship that these two have, but now Kai and Nia are actually allowed to grow this relationship more in Dragon's Rising. I really like Kai's return from Nether Space and the fact he really holds his own against Noct. It really shows how he is a good combatant and really good ninja. I think in Season 2 of Dragon's Rising, Kai is the most developed ninja, because you really see how they really take this fine needle in developing him that they don't do with others sometimes. And one of my favourite parallels is the fact that Wildfire has one with Season 1 Kai, and the fact that Kai's now the mentor and has to kind of calm her down. That's really well done in the show. One thing they could have done to perfect his character is just to have him fight a little bit more, because in Season 2 Part 2 he only fights once, and that's in the finale. I feel like if it was possible they should have got Kai in the sources because he would have done really well in that, and they would have been able to develop his character much more, as they would have been able to have him interact with past Elemental Masters and this new wave of Elemental Masters and give him good advice that he has learned in the past. But overall, I'm going to give Kai a 9.9. I think he's just a little bit off being that perfect 10 out of 10. But his character arc overall throughout the show is absolutely amazing, so I am going to have to give him that really, really high mark. Here are the final rankings. Yes, some of them do seem a bit harsh, but I do feel like they are all actually fair if you look at it. I may be a bit too generous to Kai, but I do feel like he is the best character in this season overall. Zayn's ranking might be a bit unfair, but I do just think his character is getting a bit stale. They just need to revamp it soon. Jay's is also a bit but I do feel like the Evil J had
Hey,
so
big
much
guy.
hot
Subway
potential,
knows
and
you
then they
want a
did just
cookie
ruin it.
so huge it'll make
Evil
you
J was
feel till
also
you
going to
really
be
feel
higher,
it.
but of course they did ruin that, so I
Hey,
do
little
think
fella.
that is a
Don't
fair
forget to
rating for
share.
him.
Try the new
And
football
that's my
cookie from the
ranking.
Sidekicks
If
menu
you do
and
have
make it the
anything else you would
footlongest
think
summer
would
ever.
change, please leave it in the comments.
Shopify's
This
point of
is
sale
just me
system
starting out
helps
this
you
new type
sell
of
at
video
every
format.
stage
If you
of your
like it, leave a
business.
like. If you've got
Need a
anything
fast
that I
and
can improve
secure
on, please
way
leave
to
it in the
take
comments.
payments? We've got
If
you
there's
covered.
anything you would like me to cover, please leave a
How
comment.
about
And
card
I'll see you
readers
next
that
time.
you can rely on?